Racist waiter mocks black woman, then learns she's the owner's wife. I'll never forget the day I walked into that restaurant. I wasn't dressed up, just wearing jeans and a simple top. Nothing flashy, but I was hungry and excited to enjoy a good meal. Little did I know, I was about to experience something I would never forget. The moment I stepped inside, I felt it. That shift in the air, the kind that tells you you're not really welcome. I glanced around at the other diners, mostly white, enjoying their meals. A couple of waiters walked past me without a glance. No greeting, no smile, just nothing. I stood near the entrance for a moment, waiting to be seated, but no one came. A tall waiter, a young white guy with slicked back hair, finally noticed me. He looked me up and down, eyes filled with something between amusement and disgust. "We're full," he said flatly. I glanced around. Half the tables were empty. "Really?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. "Yeah," he said, folding his arms. "You should probably try somewhere else." I felt my stomach twist. It wasn't about the food anymore. It was about dignity. "I'd like to speak to the manager," I said firmly. The waiter chuckled, shaking his head. "Lady, I don't think the manager has time for." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "People like you. People like me." I took a slow breath, holding back the anger bubbling inside me. I had been through this before. Black people, especially black women, know this feeling all too well. The feeling of being looked down on, dismissed, and disrespected for no reason other than the color of our skin. But today was different. Today I had power that he didn't know about. I pulled out my phone and sent a quick message. Less than a minute later, the restaurant owner walked out from the back, his eyes scanning the room until he saw me. His face lit up with recognition and warmth. "Baby," he called out, hurrying over. The waiter's face went pale. My husband, the owner of this very restaurant, pulled me into a hug before turning to the waiter. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. The waiter stammered, looking between us. I didn't know." "You didn't know she was my wife?" My husband's voice was dangerously low now. "And if she wasn't, would that make it okay to treat a customer this way?" The young man swallowed hard, his arrogance crumbling. He tried to backpedal, mumbling something about a misunderstanding, but it was too late. My husband turned to the rest of the staff, his face set in disappointment. "This is not how we treat people here. Ever." The waiter's eyes darted around, as if looking for an escape. But there was none. My husband sighed, rubbing his temples before speaking again. "Take off your apron and leave. We don't need people like you in this restaurant." The waiter hesitated, but he knew he had no choice. He yanked off his apron and stormed out, his face red with shame. As I finally took my seat, my husband sat across from me, reaching for my hand. "I'm sorry you had to deal with that," he said softly. I nodded, exhaling slowly. "It's not the first time." He squeezed my hand. "But I swear, as long as I own this place, it'll be the last time it happens here." I believed him. That day wasn't just about a meal. It was about respect, about standing up against the quiet, insidious ways racism still lingers in places we least expect. And most of all, it was about making sure that no one else, no other black woman, no other person of color, would ever walk into that restaurant and feel unwelcome again. As I ate my meal, I noticed the other staff members stealing glances my way, their expressions a mix of curiosity and embarrassment. I could feel their discomfort, their realization that they had let something terrible happen right under their noses. A young waitress, no older than 20, approached my table nervously. "Ma'am," she said hesitantly, "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I saw what happened, and I should have said something." I looked up at her, searching her face for sincerity. I saw it there. Genuine regret. "Thank you," I said. "It's never easy to speak up, but next time, don't hesitate." She nodded quickly and walked away. I hoped she meant it. After I finished eating, my husband walked me to the car, his arm around my waist. Before I got in, I turned to him. "Promise me something," I said. "Anything. Keep making this place better, not just for me, but for everyone." He smiled, pressing a kiss to my forehead. "I will." As I drove away, I realized something important. Sometimes change starts with a single moment, a single confrontation. And that day, I had made sure that at least one place in the world was a little more just than it had been before. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about all the times I had faced moments like that one. The subtle, unspoken biases, the outright acts of discrimination, the way some people saw me as less than. But I also thought about something else: progress. My husband's restaurant had changed that day. His staff had learned something. And maybe, just maybe, the young waitress who apologized would remember that moment forever and do better next time. And that was how change truly happened. One person, one moment, one story at a time.